Berlin Zoning Board of Appeals for the meeting agenda for May 23rd, 2023. This meeting is held today, May 30th, 2023, 7 p.m. Basically, you probably all have the background on how this meeting goes. We start with new business and then go into old business. During the new business, where the applications in the order they're received, and ask the applicant to come up or speak up. And this room over here, we don't really need a microphone, but applicant sign in to Dylan's sheet, sign-in sheet, and then speak up with regards to your application, and we'll have a question and answer from the people on the video as well as here. And once we complete that, what we'll do is close the hearing on the application and then go into old business once all the applications have been heard. Only one thing that I have to caution everybody on: we can't introduce any new information during the old business portion of the meeting. So if you hear any disclosure or anything needs to be brought out into the open, or any questions need to be resolved, this should be during the new business portion where we have the question and answer, the discussion session. Once we close the hearing, we can't introduce any new information legally. So we're going to just vote on the second part of the meeting. Any questions? All right, I'm going with the first application. The ZBA 2023-05, 1381 Berlin Turnpike, map 16-3, block 142, lot 54. Muhammad R. Adam Auto Sales. We're requesting a motor vehicle use of location for approval for Berlin zoning regulation 11R15 in the BT1 zone. Current property open, American Auto Specialty. Speaking for the application.
Michael Berry. I'm not sure where you want me.
Right there's fine. Or you can just put it aside if you want.
Yes.
That's why you can address everybody. Thank you, Michael.
Good evening. And I represent, and it's Attorney Michael Berry. I represent American Auto Specialists. Nate, who's the applicant in this? They're seeking a motor.
Got no sound. Somebody wants to test that out. Dylan, do you have us on or not?
Yeah, I can hear him okay.
Is it my problem?
Let's see.
Can you hear me? Okay.
All right.
Can everybody hear me? Or?
Can everybody hear?
Ryan can hear you.
Can everybody hear Attorney Berry?
All right, so it looks like Ryan can.
You gotta tell them already in this one, these Zoom meetings should be no reason for it.
Kristen, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Corey?
Let's see.
Ryan?
Yeah, I'm good still.
Corey? Ryan.
All right, let me try to do my phone then.
Corey, can you hear us?
He's gonna try to log in on his phone.
Brian and Kristen, you're still on, right?
Yes, still here.
Or you're not?
Yeah, I'm still good.
Rory?
There we go.
Recording in progress.
All right.
Rory?
Yes, all right. I'm sorry, guys. Okay.
Okay. Attorney Barry.
Again, my name is Michael Berry. I represent the applicant, Adam Auto Sales, seeking approval for a motor vehicle use location. Property at 1381 Berlin Turnpike, Berlin. My client intends to buy the existing business from the present owner. In a hearing such as this, the local zoning board of appeals is not acting as a ZBA, it's acting as an agent of the state covered by the Administrative Procedures Act as opposed to the zoning regulations. Reviewing whether a location should be approved, the board is obligated to make a determination irrespective of the permitted nature of the proposed use on whether a certificate of approval should be issued. It's our request that it be issued for basically three reasons. The first is it's been an existing use since at least 1998. I think it for well over 20 years. It's been considered an appropriate use. I don't believe anything on the Berlin Turnpike has changed that would mean it was no longer appropriate. All we're doing is having a change of ownership. The applicant's not seeking at this time any changes to the site that would require site plan approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Basically, they're trying to go in as a turnkey operation, keeping the building the same, the grounds the same. The only really will be changing is the name of the business and the ownership. As far as whether it's, even though it's been used for a number of years, it's worth noting what does the surrounding neighborhood look like. Again, it's on the Berlin Turnpike. Some of the neighbors within a mile, I think you have a D&L Auto Body, there's a mobile station, there's a roofing company, there's Berlin Auto Sales, a company that sells sheds, there's an auctioneer, it's a Peterbilt dealership, Alta Heavy Equipment, to name a few. So under the circumstances, I believe that it's still an appropriate use for the property as it's been for the last 25 plus years. I'd also like to point out that there are look in the area, you can see some of the old driveways of, dealerships or businesses that have been there that are no longer there. Again, this is a building that was designed exactly, for this type of use. And I would hope it be continued. The owner is here and they really want to just keep the operation the same. I think there was some concern about the what does the premises actually consist of. We did put together a site plan that shows most of the if you look at the paved area of parking, a lot of it is within the state right away, but it does show that you can fit up to 14 spaces right in front of the building. There's more on the side. There's also 2 fenced in areas behind it where it could be located. By now you can look, there's plenty of space, again, because it's not going to be a full auto dealership or, I think that the operation is going to remain the same. It pretty much, you don't see any reason why it should not be improved. The applicants here today, if there's any particular questions, along with the previous owner, or actually the present owner.
We're abating this building. The entrance is if
I may
show it here.
The entrances to the bay, I believe, are the entrance to the bay, I believe it's here. I think Mr. Badamarcos here, maybe you can answer the question as to exactly.
There's one in the front and one on either side.
So yours. This is a small map. You're talking your entrance is over here. Yeah. Big map.
So there's one entrance right here. And then there's an entrance here and an entrance on this side.
No problem. I'm just curious. And there's usually marked on that. So
and again, if they do seek to make improvements or anything, they certainly would come in for site plan approval before planning and zoning. But at this time, we're just trying to get the use approved.
yeah, it's not. You got one here. Here. It was last month. Yeah, please. Bill, you have extra copies of the application? Would you mind?
It was in the last packet. I could run to the office and grab it.
That's that. Where this is, you're planning a dealership here. Where is your display of cars going to be planning on?
Would be minimal if they'd be in front of the building, or else they'd be photograph made. So there'll be 2.
Can't say minimal, but it's not.
It would be in the back of the. See, there's the fenced in lot.
So you're going to have you're going to be displaying the cars in your customer parking area?
Yes, and in the back of the fenced in areas.
Further up the street. Drive on a motor. Here, just picture of it. Go to the next page. You see One next to the fire station.
That's right. No, it's not that anymore. It's Berlin Auto. Berlin Auto Sales.
Used to be driving.
The Berlin Auto Body in the Garson.
That's still.
Good one. Okay, that's yours.
How many cars is that?
Sorry.
What number of cars that are gonna be for sale here are?
I believe that the hope is to have at least 20, is that correct?
There's always a problem when we have these on these highways like this because of where the highway line is, and we fought with them a couple of times and other businesses that have literally gotten in trouble for them, got some stuff in the state and problems, including the one she mentioned that's up the street next to the fire department. Displaying cars becomes a big problem because you can't bring them after that highway line. Okay, you can't go in front of that. Whether they're gonna bother you or not, I have no idea. It's up to them. That's state property, not that state issue. But these parking spaces here that you have to have, I believe it, correct me if I'm wrong, Dylan, it's 3 for every bay. They have to be left for customers.
For auto dealerships and zoning regulations, it's at the commission's discretion.
That's something new was changed, and we should get a copy of that from our records. Moved them.
It's moved, but it was 3, it was about 3
It
years.
used to be 3, last one we did was 3.
Well, the only thing you have to worry about is whether or not the state sees cars.
So automotive repair and service facilities is 3 per bay, you're correct.
A
But
dealership is an auto repair shop.
and it says automotive,
Which way you look at it, a used car dealership is a repair facility. Yeah, period.
so in that case, yeah, it's 3 per bay.
For the road. And then setback line, yeah, and setback line is about 30 feet, I think.
That was 25.
25 or 30, yeah. 25 or 30 feet.
But that, you have the mark right there, they get the line right now,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be pretty a lot.
Yeah, I agree, there's no problem there, but. It all depends how sticky you want to get with the regs. If it's 3 per bay, then these have to be remaining empty, they can't park cars for sale in. But he's got this lot area over here where he's got plenty of room to sell cars, or make parking spaces for his customers, like, if you wanted to show them off. Just to think it out loud.
Okay.
No. Sure. You just-
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 30 feet. 25 feet, I'm sorry. So 25 feet from the road, you can't put anything there.
That's correct. The applicant's well aware of that. You can see the island is actually in the state right away.
Right.
Everything you can see on the photo as well as,
Right.
Thank you.
We have the same hindrances in the center of town.
Yeah, it's, we know that if improvements want to be made, in other, we don't realize we have to go back to them, have to go to the planning and zoning commission. I think it's acting as the state agency decide whether the location is suitable to have establishment, what improvements are to be made on lines with motor vehicle and with the planning zone.
I have no other questions though, other than, you know, the usual, like, keeping it clean, keeping the cars away, and stuff like that, maintaining it. That's been the biggest problem going back even before this was American. It was used as a stockyard in that gated, that fenced area before American, so I'm going back.
I was gonna say.
I said right there, going back before American, it was used as a, and there was boats and everything,
Right.
cut in half, literally. I remember.
Is this Max our city?
Steve Stamper was in there for years. Well, Max Car City was across the street at, where the compressor store is now. Before that, it was on South Main Street in Brick. I've been around a little while.
I don't know. It's something. Well, you know, the president or applicant are here if there's questions.
Well, the issue we had last time, we didn't have one of these, but up-to-date plan, so we got an up-to-date plan on file. So I think we're good, from that perspective. Everything else that, Mr. Tuck mentioned, is, you know, valid, but, at least we have this on file now, so that we.
Yeah, you got your parking outlined, so we've got. We meet whatever. The reg says, so.
Okay.
So good.
Anybody have any questions, Corey?
No,
Brian?
sir. No, sir.
I'm good.
Any,
I appreciate the new site map. It's a much better improvement over the last one that we looked at. And I recognize that
any other comments, questions?
the folks actually put this together and did it new.
Any comments? Any comments? Can you hear us, Bill? Any comments in favor of the application?
But yeah, there's still a public hearing, so you'd have to close the public hearing portion.
No.
Well, before I close it,
Oh,
before I close, any comments in favor of the application?
Yeah, Chris Hedge, Economic Development Director, excited to have a new owner. I'm very glad they came with the site plan, excited about having hopefully more stuff going on and maybe some long-term improvement to the properties.
Any comments, any additional comments in favor? Any comments in opposition? Comments in favor? Okay, go ahead.
John O'Brien. Big Berlin, 40 some odd years. First house I bought was on East Berlin and Chestnut Lane. And I could go back as far as 1977, when that was Steve's Camper, and it was all campers, all in the front. Towards a little green island. I believe it's probably around 20-25 feet in from the state highway. There's campers, but I had a camper, my children were young, I used to go camping all the time, I used to get wet camping equipment for it. I worked for Connecticut Natural Gas for 30 years. I was always a mechanic, because I graduated from General Motors, therefore Letty Tubbs to verify it. I know people throughout the town, the garages, and I'm just a really type of person when it comes to the automobile business. I can't see why there'd be any questions not to allow this to go. It's been a camper, car lot, auto shop, and we want businesses in this town. We don't want it to discourage it. I say let it go through. There's nothing wrong with the properties. They have a lot of parking on the side, with the back, it's fenced in. And that's all. But again, keep the businesses in our time.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Any comments in favor? Any more comments in opposition? Make a motion to close it.
I make a motion to close this portion of the hearing.
I'll second it. Thank you.
You don't usually make a motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, we got everybody. Okay. Next application
This is for the current.
is ZBA 2023-06, 250 Western Square Road, map 10-3, block 83C, lot 32. Thomas Moran is requesting a variance on behalf of Patrick Ford. 5 additional wall signs, one wall sign is allowed for Berlin zoning regulation 9A6F2 for the automobile dealership at 250 Webster Square Road. Property is owned by Bocata, 250 Webster Square LLC, and is in the PSA zone. Speaking for the application.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jim Cassidy, professional engineer and principal with the firm at Halsey Pearson Cassidy. Here tonight representing Tasker Ford. We actually have 2 applications up for you, 2 various applications for 2 separate buildings on this property. We're going to start with the first application. On your screen that's ahead of you is a copy of the site plan that was submitted as part of the application. On this site plan, you're going to see off on the left-hand side where it says existing 1-story concrete block building. This is the existing dealership for Tasker Ford. Webster Square Road is off to the left, which would be your west. And if you were to scroll down on the page, you can see other way, put it down. Up at the top would be Woodlawn Road. What started all this is we've been buying, we're under construction for a new 32,500 square foot facility to the rear of the property. When we filed for it, one of the things that came up was there's some questions about the existing signs on the Tasker building. On the site plans that you have in the package, you're going to see a bunch of red numbers and circles. What this represents is the different sign locations that are on the building. Under section 9A6F, your zoning regulation, what it states is that you're allowed for a single tenant to have 1 wall sign per building. When we went through the records, zoning went through the records, they found permits for basically 5 signs. The 5 signs you see on your screen right now. So there's 2 monument signs, a Ford sign, a Tasker sign, and a service sign. Can you go more page, Dylan? Yep. So what came into question are there 5 additional signs on the buildings. There are 2 quick lane signs, an additional Ford sign. There's a quick lane informational sign, and there's also a body shop sign. We can't find any clear permits that says I filed for a permit to build these signs, but they are on the property. Tasker bought it, bought the dealership. They were on the property. So zoning asked us to come in as part of our other application to come in and clarify the permits for all. Per your regulation, area-wise, is based upon the frontage of the building along Webster Square. And then the height of the building, which would actually allow us to have a total of 632 square foot signs. But again, the problem is it allows us to have 1 sign rather than multiple signs. We are at, with the permitted and with the signs in questions, we're at a total of 247 signs. It's almost a third was actually committed to sign area. Again, it's multiple signs. We think for the existing signs, the hardship is the applicant's requesting that the board grant a looser restricted interpretation of the term building occupant. When you go to the dealership, I equate it to like going to a grocery store and you go inside and you have signs to tell you where the different products are. They're hanging inside the building. When you're dealing with automotive repairs and facilities like this, you really can't do that. So although you technically have 1 tenant, Tasker Ford, you have multiple operations in here. You have a sales area to the front, so that is indicated by signs number 2, 3, 4. And then you have your different service areas, which are your quick lane signs, which are indicated by 3, 8, 9. And then off to the side, you have another quick lane sign, and then a body shop sign, which is number 10. So you really need to have these larger signs on the outside of the building to direct the customer to the appropriate location and not having confusion when you're in the facility. So we think that there's a safety concern by not having the appropriate signage on the building. It's a little difficult to direct people around this facility without it. In addition to, as I mentioned, I'm still in question as to, I believe these signs were actually permitted. There's a little dispute, I would say, between myself and Maureen. But when we went through the zoning file, okay, I think we saw the building.
Yeah.
Sorry, we went through the building file. This is a site plan that was submitted in 2003. In 2003, when it was owned by Randy Ford, you may recall they added a new repair facility to the south end of the building, to the front, and a new body shop to the rear. What I found interesting, again, this is a site plan that's on file in the building permit file. It indicates the majority of these signs to be out there. In addition to the second one is we tried to find some historical fixtures or historical photos. That's the best we can find. That's when Tasket actually took the facility over. You can see they just hung their banner as a temporary sign. You can see all those signs were there. So when they bought it, they were there. So we just want to get the record clear once and for all as part of everything else we're doing out there. Because we have an additional variance we're going to be looking at for the new building. We think it's important, once again, to add the signs to direct people to the right place safely for this facility. Having much smaller signs, you are allowed directional signs up to 2 square feet, which is not much bigger than that piece of paper you're holding in your hand. It'd be very difficult to get to the right location for this facility. So that will conclude this portion of the presentation, and any questions you may have.
So you've got the, there's 5 signs. There's those 5,
The 5 on the bottom, the 5 on the top are the ones that are in question.
Right.
The 5 on the bottom.
When do you say these came through zoning?
So we're not exactly sure. We found on that site plan that was submitted in 2003 for the additions, they're noted on that site plan. That was in 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual permit was filed in 2003.
You and I were both here back then. I don't remember seeing anything like that from asking back then.
No. These are the.
I remember them, Bob sold the place and we had
He's already there.
the change of name and all, so no big deal.
They're there. We can find it.
Excessive.
Yes,
Yeah, these are already there.
everything is there.
Everything is there.
Everything is there.
But these are the additional ones.
They're in
Want to
question.
get-
They're in question, correct?
No, they're additions, yeah, they just want to get these approved. They're already there.
Well, weren't they gonna, they were gonna change, oh no, they're gonna add the new signs on the second item. You're not gonna do any changing of the existing signage?
No changing of the existing signage.
But you're adding those 5.
What's that?
You're adding those 5.
They're there, trying to just get the record.
It was a retroactive action.
Yeah.
And Tom Moran's here with me this evening. He concurred that they were there when they purchased it.
Yeah, they were on the building when Pasco purchased it in 2014. So it was part of the existing property.
I don't remember seeing that pre-owned vehicle sign there.
Well, there's a permit for that one. It's definitely.
Yeah.
It's just the 5 that are.
I'm surprised that, I'm surprised that Ford let you put the Ford logo together with the pre-owned vehicle sign right next to it. That's a surprise.
Ford, it's funny because Ford requires you to have different signage, and they don't necessarily require when you have a stanchion sign where it has to be located near a building or near a Ford logo type thing. But they do require specific signage on a specific building.
I just say
Is
that.
this a proposed of what they were gonna do to the building and they
No,
came
that's
up with a
not.
different,
That's an actual photo.
this is right now.
Other than one casket's been over, they put a new front.
So this and this.
Yeah.
They're not the same.
Understand? Those are.
No, they're not. They may say the same, but they are not the same signs.
Which one?
This, they're not the same.
Oh, it's been.
When they first bought it.
The building's been retained.
Yeah, but it's like Planet Auto Center, this one doesn't.
But this has been, this is a sign that's mounted on the wall, like it may have been backlit or wanted to be backlit. And probably, if it was, it probably got rejected by planning and zoning, because they don't like backlit lighting. Well, that's a long time ago. I'm not worried about that. I just want to know the differences. That's all I'm asking, is why there's a discrepancy and why the differences. This, I think, may have been a proposed of what they were thinking of, and this is what they have now, right?
That's the sign that are out there, but.
Yeah,
Because this is definitely
This
not.
photo was not taken in 2023.
No,
No,
it's
that
not
was-
taken in 2003, it was taken, we passed
2004.
Okay.
You can see there's
That-
temporary connection photo versus,
So these are more recent photos.
those were just taken about a month ago.
Yeah, so this was a month ago and this was 10 years ago.
I think there's a lot of difference you're seeing.
20 years.
As a paint is.
Oh,
It's,
yeah, 20 years ago.
So, yeah. I mean, that's.
The only note,
the
I know
deviations.
this is backlit.
Are any of these signs backlit?
Tasca is, the Ford is. The body shop is not.
Anything's. It's just what they're saying is on. Not us. That's. We stay away from that.
I guess they permitted it to be there. Oh, yeah.
So this one and this one, these two are backlit.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And the stanchion signs are lit. You know, like the used car sign and the Ford Oval.
Right.
When you're driving down the street. Doesn't,
Nothing's neon, nothing's flashing.
no.
No, that's what we're all doing.
I got it.
Nothing's flashing, seems to me. What?
Dylan, can you,
Ryan, I'm sorry, you cut out on me. What was that?
or can you show like Google Street View so they can see what it looks like currently?
Sure.
So you're right.
You gotta go to the right here. There you go. Do this quick line, yeah. Oh, I haven't heard that.
Oh, this is.
Yeah,
That's in the side of the parking lot.
And there's two separate entrances, one for quick lane and one for the body shop.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the quick lane. Signs being on both sides of the building.
Yeah, that's because it's two separate entrances.
Two dimensions.
It doesn't matter. Still, they're not gonna have trouble finding the place. You got it right out, marked right out front of it. They're not gonna be driving them in the bays. Correct?
Correct.
There's nothing, I mean, there's. Move on. They're decent looking signs. You know, like they're doing it all shabby. So.
Why didn't we do this before the signs went up? Just be curious.
What's that?
Why didn't we do this before the sign went up? Or
So they were there when they bought it.
they were there when they bought it? Okay, here. Okay.
That would be a question for Bob Randy.
We actually had a large discussion in Economic Development Commission about. So just wanted to kind of read the motion they put out. I would encourage your support and assistance to the variance on the existing facility at 2 Webster Square Road for this growing firm. Due to the specific and unique nature of the business, wayfinding is a key piece of the puzzle. Signage serves not only as directional aids to the public, but also helps guide in the right area of the property for automotive needs. The variance of the signs will continue to help those who visit the dealership. And that was 5-0 unanimous for Economic Development.
I'm still a little bent on why we're talking about this now. If you bought it in 2014, why weren't we talking about it then? I realize they were already there, but.
Because they didn't want to do other signs.
So we didn't really know there was an issue until we went forward and filed the site plan for the new building was under construction.
Correct.
When that,
Okay.
so when that came up, we were asked to clear about this.
Got
We filed for that in 2019, COVID hit, slowed everything down.
Got
Finally got things going, as you can see, the building's well underway. So we needed to come in with signs on that building, so we're clarifying, trying to really clarify it one time.
Okay, so this first item is for basically retroactive approval of the signage on the existing building, right?
Did Maureen suggest that they go to planning and zoning with us before they come to us? It's usually stuff like this.
Well, so
Need their blessing before they come after us.
So for signs, that's just that's just through the department, permitting through the departments. So signs don't get approved as part of a special permit or site plan approval. It's
Well, they have been in the past, several times, trust me. Stop and Shop was definitely through planning and zoning before it ever came near us.
I know, I do know there was a condition though, through the planning and zoning approval that the signs were not part of it.
Yeah, we had,
So they're washing their hands and putting it on us. I mean,
Well.
Well, I think it's the exception that
yeah,
planning and zoning deals
I
with.
agree. I think it's moved right now. I think they're good signs. You know, they're not shabby pieces of junk on painted on a piece of plywood. So. And it does nothing to degrade the property around it. And we spoke to that earlier today.
I'm gonna do that next. That's the next piece. If I had to really be hard nosed about it, I would say that you got maybe one more sign than you need, the quick lanes. And the only reason why I say that is because we had a dental outfit that came in here that he might have had a sign on one side of the building, and they wanted to put a sign on the other side of the building, and they fought, and you know, our planning and zoning commission said no. And there's a sign there now.
This is an existing zone.
There's a sign there now, but you know, it was like, you don't need a sign on both corners of the building, but it's there.
This picture here of the building. You said it's 2002.
No, the picture is about 2014. Okay. That's when Pasco first bought it.
Oh, that's 2014. This was 2014, because the reason I ask is because that says Pasco on the front of the side, when you put the banner on it when you first bought it.
Oh, okay, well, this is 2012.
That's in this.
So when I gave you that, because that's in your building permit file, when they filed that, you can see they indicated all these signs.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
You can indicate.
Here, that's
Banner.
they put a banner on it.
Oh, yeah. 2014. Yeah, right. I'm not sure, you know. What happened there, but. You know, that's you. Then Stop and Shop, there's pharmacy on one side of the building, it says flower shop on the other end, like 4 or 5 signs in front of the store. And it's not really overkill, you don't really notice it. It's not like Route 66. But you know, if you had to take one sign, you really need 2 quick change signs. But, yeah, it's facing the other way, it's not really a big of a issue, that's a decent looking sign, so I think really see an issue with that. But I don't know why planning it's only didn't.
This access to in the sign right now.
You know, everything was downhill.
Yeah, keep in mind, I remember having a discussion about multiple signage like this too over at the executive. The new one over there on the bifurcated property from what's that developer guy? Orsini, the new Orsini property over there. The Acura. They got multiple signs.
Not like this, we restricted them on several signs they put up because of the way they did it, and they used to do it in the past.
But they got multiple certain divisions is what I was keying in on, like on this application. Because they got their separate service sign on the back, and then I know we had to approve the extra sign for the property.
That was the street sign.
Yeah, the street, yeah, the front sign.
That's it, yeah.
My only point is that I think I'm thinking about precedent. I don't think we should be saying anything about the number of tenants or the interpretation of the tenants. This is a specific site signage approval for an auto dealership. Has nothing to do with the interpretation of a tenant in the building.
Yeah, okay.
I agree.
I'll go along.
I don't want a different use of this building, and then all of a sudden you got 10 different tenants and they all claim that they get to have separate signs.
Right, you got it.
I'm good.
Okay.
You want to present both of these parts at the same time with what I know at once, or? You have to separate this stuff.
Probably not separated. We can close the hearing on this one over here and go on to the next one.
I move we close this portion of the hearing.
Any comments in favor, comments in opposition? Any additional comments from anybody? If not, I'll second that motion again.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. That's closed. Application ZBA 2023-07, 250 Webster Square Road, map 10-3, block 83C, lot 32. Thomas Moran is requesting a variance on behalf of Patrick Ford for 8 wall signs, where 1 wall sign is allowed for Berlin zoning regulations 98672 for the truck repair facility at 250 Webster Square Road, property owned by Bogata, 250 Webster Square Road, LLC, and is in the PSA zone. Speaking to the application.
Good evening again. For the record, my name is Jim Cassidy, professional engineer, principal of Furman House, Pearson Cassidy. I'm doing look back one page. So again, I'm bringing up the site plan that was submitted as part of your application. As I previously mentioned, what all brought this to a head is we recently received approval from planning and zoning, and actually the construction for a new 32,500 square foot building that's to the rear of the existing dealership. Just for orientation purposes, again, on the left is Webster Square Road. The rectangle on the left is the existing dealership, and on the top, or to the north, is Woodlawn Road. To the right is residential property, separated by a significant buffer. Technically, I mean, actually, there's a separate piece of property that Pasco also owns to the front. It's actually address is 73 Woodlawn. It's in the location of the existing parking lot that's up in the top section of upper portion of the page. As part of the proposed building, what we're doing is we would like to put some signs on the building. Similar to the application, what we're looking to do is to actually separate the signs into smaller pieces. If I go through the regulations for the requirements, we're actually permitted to have 342 square feet of sign. On the site plan or the elevation plan you can see before you, we are proposing 4 signs for the size. So the elevation you see up on the screen right now, this is the side that actually faces towards the back of the dealership. This is going to be what we call a elite commercial service pro or elite commercial service. This building is specifically built and designed to handle repairs to larger trucks, like F-250s and above, for contractors that are the customer. It's important to note, if you go back to the site plan, Dylan, that this building is not a passerby building. It's not like a regular retail store where there's local people that are looking to go to the store. They're going to know where it is and they can easily get to it. This building is specifically proposed to be, or is being built to accommodate commercial clients all throughout Connecticut. So most of the clients coming here do not really know where they're going to. In addition to, when you take a look at the positioning of the building, you'll find this significantly far back from Woodlawn Road. It's actually 291 feet back from the road. So if I were passing by on Berlin Turnpike looking at that Woodlawn, you never see the building. Actually, if you drive east or westerly down Woodlawn towards Tasca, you don't actually see this building until you get past CarStar and the registration for CarStar. So it's very difficult to see. The reason that it's so far back on the property is, as I mentioned, there's a separate piece of property out front of that 173 Woodlawn. If you recall, there used to be a factory on the building. The factory had some environmental issues. We cannot build anything on it. So we had to push the building all the way to the back. If you went by there as of a couple of weeks ago, there was still the remains of the concrete slab from the old building. It's been capped at this point. It is the old building, the weight structure. It's been capped and it's going to be a display parking. But that forced the building way back in the property, and once again, making it very difficult for customers to see. So if you go back to the elevations building. So again, this is the side elevation as it faces the rear of the building. So this is your westerly elevation. We're looking to break the sign down into 4 parts: the Ford logo, the Pro logo, where the blue band is up to the left. It says Elite Commercial Services, and then there's a small Pro symbol underneath it. All of the signs on this side of the building equal 94.6 square feet. We put down one more slide building. We're doing the exact same signs on the front of the building. So this is the side of the building that's going to face towards Woodlawn. So it'll be another 94.6 square feet for a total of 189.26 square feet. We're permitted for sign area 342.14 square feet. So we're far under the overall area. We just thought aesthetically and also to make it a little bit easier for a customer to see by spreading it out. It would be a little bit better rather than clumping it all into one signboard on the front of the building. And again, you know, with this particular site, we think the specific hardship is due to the environmental concerns that were out front. It forced the building pretty far back off of Woodlawn. Again, it's 291 feet back off of Woodlawn. And it's actually about 417 feet long for Webster Square Road. This is a unique facility. This is not a regular car dealership where people in the area know where it is. We're attracting people, I'm correct for a long time, but not only from Connecticut, but even all over New England.
Yeah, you'll be drawing from Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Will be the first commercial Ford Pro Center in New England. So, and there's currently, it's an untapped market. There's currently 50,000 units in operation in the Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts area, looking for dealers to go that can service their larger vehicles. Because it's a specific service center. You know, what happens is your typical automotive dealer doesn't have lifts that can raise the cars to, you know, a bucket truck that comes to your house to cut down trees. You can't put down on a 15,000 pound lift, you know, to work on, you know, so it's very specific to the clientele that this will draw.
You said F-250 and up?
F-250 and up.
It's kind of small truck.
It is, but you have to, what part of Ford's requirements is the lifts that will be in there will handle anything from 15,000 pounds and up. So per Ford requirement. So we will have one 15,000 pound thing. You know, everything else will lift up to 30,000, up to 52,000 pounds actually. You know, there'll be various lift sizes in there to attract that clientele. And I agree that 250 is a smaller truck until you put a utility behind it.
Oh, I understand.
But no, I know what your point is there. It's not what you're thinking of, a big truck.
Yeah.
You know? And then we'll also in the front, we have flat bays. That'll bring in motorhomes, you know, freight liner, things like that.
I understand the whole concept of it.
Yeah, it's a great concept.
This is not facetious, right?
Yes.
How come you didn't add service above the bay like you have in the other ones?
Yeah.
Are you coming back for that?
This is Ford's design. This is Ford's requirements. They won't let us put additional signage. This is what they are.
Because I see it on the other.
Yeah, no, and I understand. That's a great question. Yeah.
Well, everything at once.
No, because what thing is this Ford, you see this here, then you go to the next one they allow to be built somewhere, because you have to be approved by Ford to build. You know, and so the next one you go to, it's going to have the exact signage, the exact logos. The difference would be it may say Bill Smith Motors as opposed to Tasman, you know, depending on where it's built. You know, but all the other logos will be the same. Ford Pro, Commercial Service Elite, you know, because they're trying to. Ford is broken into 3 divisions, and Ford Pro Elite is one of their 3 divisions now. They have the ICE division, which is the internal combustion engine. They have the Model E division, which is the electric vehicles, and this. You know, so that's what they've done.
Well, but to Lenny's point is that there's actually no Tasca name on this building either.
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Very tight, little tiny one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Like you said, if you're servicing the first in New England, maybe Tasca isn't the Ford is see first anyway.
Right, and that's why you see Ford Pro Elite.
Yeah.
I have no other questions.
Neither do I.
Move on.
Okay, sure. We'll come up here. So I was at their Cranston facility before Pro Elite. Very impressed. A whole lot of cool stuff, ambulances. And pretty much everything I was going to say has already been said. The contamination on Woodlawn Road, 280 feet. Signage is vital. Facility was designed to bring to New England. Yeah, basically everything that's been said. Very excited that we're getting the first one. I think that says a lot because it is a major investment. I believe over $5.5 million between the building, the equipment, etc., which is
It's skyrocketed.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're over 10 now. Yeah. Yeah, I keep
Ford
trying to
paid for
change
this.
it.
Ford paid for that?
No.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
No, that's
no.
not Ford.
Ford is not paying for it. No.
Okay.
I wish we could.
Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
Nope.
Just,
Have comments?
Can the public speak here?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess my question is, if this is in a zone that allows one side,
Who are you?
can you
Oh,
hear
yes.
me?
Yeah, oh, yes, yeah, please,
Introduce yourself.
state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Will Lease. I live at 470 Worthington Ridge. Can I start again?
Yep, absolutely.
My question is, if this is in a zone that allows one sign, why is this piece of property going to have 20-something signs on it? I mean, what was the intention when it was zoned for one sign? Was there a reason for that and it would just become obsolete, or was it maybe because it was real close to residential properties and they didn't want a zillion signs? I don't quite understand the whole idea behind the one sign limit and the complete disregard for it.
Well, not disregard for it. It's almost like, you know, they're allowed 400 square feet. They're using up 200 square feet. They're using half the square footage. If they don't do it that way, they're going to put up a giant marquee with all kinds of arrows going this way and that way. And I don't think we want that either. So I guess, you know, this is like Stop and Shop. There's a pharmacy area, there's a florist area, and there's you know, produce, and Stop and Shop's got 3 or 4 signs on the front there.
Okay, I guess my next question would be, are any of these signs on the new building going to be lighted?
Yes.
Probably the fourth sign or the fourth row sign.
Yeah.
See, this is where we get zoning, planning and zoning involved. This is what we get in trouble with all the time. Because of the backlit lights and the way they've made everybody else like their building in town, including the new buildings that are put on Farmington Avenue. They had to put the lights out and had to be lit from in front. They put a sign at the end of Webster Square, and they made that small sign, put their signs and be lit out in front. Stop and Shop had to be lit from the ground out front.
Yeah, right, yeah, and there's.
I have to confess, I can't really hear you. My ears are not that good, even with the headphones. No, I don't really have a complaint with these signs as long as they're not real bright and they're not aimed towards my house. So, you know, I was just curious why, first of all, I'm curious why I think it's zoned for shopping. Isn't that the title of the zone that building's in? Shopping?
The commercial zone, yeah.
Yeah. With automobile.
A2 or something, I think.
Yes,
it has a particular usage. And I just wonder why it would be part of the zone that a building would only be allowed one sign. I don't know if that's from like the 1800s or something, or it doesn't make any sense to me, but.
So from our research and design regulations throughout town, buildings are allowed to have one building sign. Doesn't really make a difference what the zone is. I think the problem is that it doesn't take into account different type of uses such as automobile dealerships.
You know, that's new to me also, because one sign was never a question I've always.
Yeah. I have to apologize for wasting your time, Jim. I can only ask questions. I can't hear the answers, so I don't belong here. So I'll have to.
It's not. Well, is your mic not working or your speakers not working?
It's my ears aren't working is the biggest problem.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. No question is a dumb question. We appreciate you being involved.
Yeah, I just was curious. I saw the request to go from one sign to 10 signs, and I'm like, well, that's kind of nutty. It's nutty for a lot of reasons, but anyway, no more questions.
Signs, if you look at like signs, what 1, 2, and 3, they like visually, it looks like it's one sign. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I don't think you can hear you.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
What When you say 10 signs, it sounds over.
I won't,
The sign.
I won't waste any more of your time. Have a good evening. Thank you.
So the only other thing I'll bring up is when you take a look at the site plan, as we went through the approval process, we tried to be as sensitive as we can to neighbors. If you look at the site plan, if you look at the east side, the back side of the building, there's no windows, no vents, no access to that whole back side. That's the side that's something that's.
Believe me, when we're questioning, when I'm questioning this is no, in no way directed toward you. It's directed toward us in how we do things. I'm sorry, but that's. You're right. It's got to hit the table sooner or later. We can't continually do things one way for some buildings and a different way for buildings on the street. So our regs either got to be rewritten and redone so they're equal for everybody, or
They can't ever be equal for everyone.
for businesses they have to be.
Yeah, but a Ford dealership is much different than a pizza restaurant. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's different.
I agree, but I'm saying a shopping plaza can be the same as a Ford dealership. You got these small plazas, you know, where you have 10 or 12 businesses.
Units should have something.
Okay, but they should have some, you'll have signs in the street too, or signs in the other areas, and then we don't allow it in some cases. And this is what I'm getting at, no, let's do this, we'll talk about that.
But
I mean, this looks like.
each one has to be evaluated on its own merits. I mean, it's not, you know, if you've got a strip mall with a bunch of different businesses and you got this giant marquee with all these other signs that, you know, it's not as aesthetically pleasing as maybe something like that, but if you got to evaluate them separately. Everyone's got to be evaluated on their own merits.
Okay, but I'm going back to Stop and Shop, Tony, where we did the same type of thing, we got all these signs. And they weren't allowed to put the produce, they weren't allowed to put their descriptions.
They're only allowed 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, we only allowed like 2 or 3 signs on that building. It was ridiculous, but I was outvoted.
Yeah.
I was brand new on the board, man. Nobody believed me.
I remember.
Well.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Today's.
Okay. Did we close the hearing on this, or did you have to have comments?
The only thing I was just gonna put out there, just signs, you know, regardless, you know, if zoning board of appeals decides to approve the signs, permit process still has to be followed.
Well, I'll look for a motion to close the hearing on the application then.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Thank you. We'll go into the old business. DBA 2023-05, 1381 Berlin Turnpike, map 16-3, block 142, lot 54, Muhammad R. Adam Auto Sales Incorporated is requesting a motor vehicle use of location approval for Berlin zoning regulation 11R15 in the BT1 zone. Current property owner is American Auto Specialist. I have a motion to approve this application.
I'll make the motion to approve his application.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just keep it clean. Only thing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. ZBA 2023-06, 250 Webster Square Road, map 10-3, block 83C, lot 32. Thomas Moran is requesting a variance on behalf of Pasco Ford to 5 additional wall signs, where 1 wall sign is allowed for Berlin zoning regulation 9A6 F2 automobile dealership at 250 Webster Square Road. Property is owned by Okada 250 Webster Square Road LLC and is in the PSA zone.
I move we approve the variance and signs on. What's that number? For the five signs at 250 Webster Square Road.
Motion made, go a second.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, and discussion.
No, it's tastefully done and has been, so no issues.
Thank you, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did we get an eye from, Corey?
I got an eye, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I got two eyes.
That's bad, you can't make this stuff up.
Okay, that's approved. CBA 2023-07, 250 Webster Square Road, map 10-3, block 83C, block 32. Thomas Moran is requesting a variance on behalf of Pascal Ford for 8 wall signs where 1 is required. Are allowed for Berlin zoning regulation 9AA 6F2 for the truck repair facility at 250 Webster Square Road. Property is owned by Okada 250 Webster Square LLC and is in the PSA zone. And that truck facility has the same address?
Yes.
Okay.
I just got one question about the 8 signs. We have 5 signs here that we saw pictures of, and then we have 6 signs here.
5 additional.
Those are the ones that are already on there, and those are the ones that were.
But he's requesting 8 new signs for the new building.
That's on the elevation plan. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so you're counting.
It's really tiny.
Okay,
Look.
fine. Okay, cool.
Look, see, this 1, 2, 3.
All I know is
that's
which
one side.
ones you're talking, that's all.
That's one side. Even though it's 3 sides.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that's what we were talking about. I don't want this coming back.
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
Now second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, discussion, just wanted to note for the record that the hardship notation is agreeable to me with the environmental situation on the forward property. And again, to cite the fact that they are using less than the total square footage allowed by the zoning rule.
Yeah, I think it's faithfully done, like Ryan commented, it's not overkill. You know, so. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, of course.
We have approval of minutes for March 28th.
Take
care. March 28th.
Little meeting.
You still have mine plays Kid Rock all summer long.
I think it was those lyrics. Anyway.
So,
Sorry.
we got minutes from March and April.
I'm on one, I'm not.
Anybody have any issues with any of that? Any in March or April? April, let's go for March.
In all honesty, I never read them because I just got them today.
March 28th? Oh. Oh, okay, well,
That I got. Actually, I got them last week. They were in my spam, spam folder.
does anybody have any, well, does anybody have any, well, it wasn't a really, it wasn't,
March and April, right? Is that correct?
yeah,
All right, so I'm out for April.
but that wasn't a real thing, it was not an event, it was not.
And March was basically,
No,
yeah,
it's there.
I remember that one. That was nothing. So that I moved to we tabled almost everything.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, March minutes are approved. And then April, and there was not much there either.
Well, Ryan Zeller didn't vote on the March minutes. I didn't get an eye from him.
Oh,
For me, I'm
right.
March. March is out for me.
Did you vote on the March?
I'm not
minutes?
He's talking to somebody else. on the phone, so.
Yeah, Ryan, we need your vote for March. He probably got it muted for talking on the phone. Somebody want to text him, chat him?
Yep,
Here.
I will.
Can you see?
Sorry, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Vote for March minutes.
I'm just finishing my ZBA meeting. I approve.
And April minutes.
Approved. Sorry, police commission matter on the other line.
Motion to approve the April minutes.
It's really not important. There's nothing April needs to see. Okay, they're all approved. They're all approved. March and April. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
I.
Aye.
Ryan, you always just